but the top is nice, like I won't even lie, it's actually pretty. It's one of those top that you used to snap and post on Insta and everybody be like, where's your top from? Good morning, K Divas, and welcome back to the channel this week. This is going to be yet another sewing vlog. In this video, I'm going to be attempting to make a top I saw on Instagram. Now, I saw this top on Ariana Grande. I think she was wearing the black version, and it's by a brand called Gear. I'll put up a picture of Ariana's post here, and the top cost, I think, 300 euros or 300 pounds, and I just thought it was the cutest thing I had seen all summer. It looks relatively straightforward to make, and I'm hoping I'll be able to recreate it in this video. I'm going to link the original product on their website so you can check it out if you wanted. But I'm going to be heading off to the fabric shops now to see if I can get a nice cotton fabric to make my own version. I'm in between doing the pink or something in like mustard yellow. Let me know in the comment section down below which color you think you would prefer, or which color you think that would look better on me. But with that being said, I'm going to take you guys to the shops, grab some materials, show you how I make any patterns if I make any pattern. The top looks like something that the pattern would be relatively straightforward. I think the work would be in the construction and in terms of getting the fit right on my body. Now, if you'd like to see how I made this top, make sure to keep on watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share it to anyone I think will enjoy it or find it useful. And with that being said, let's go fabric shopping. So I've made it into the shops. Lots of good options. Let me just show you guys the cottons I can see. So these are like cutting drills, and this is the pink that I meant, this one. It's actually $3.59 and it's 100% cotton. So the pink shade is called Sherry, I don't know. But there's also this really nice like blush pink here. And then for the mustard yellow, I was thinking this one or this one. I think they're the same. Oh no, this one is $5.99. This is $3.59, but these are sort of like the cotton options. They also have some nice blues, some nice sort of like darker tones, but these are like the plain ones. What are this linen one that is like a green and it has this really cool pattern on the surface. I'm not sure about the color, but I like the feel and I like this pattern on it. Also some polka dots. So I spotted this one, and I'm just going to get it because I'm not sure what to do with it yet. But it's like a tie and dye, and it's a pretty feel on the skin. I think it's like viscose. Let's see. Yeah, 100% viscose, $3.99. Oh, we're just going to get it and see. Back from the fabric shops, and I could not decide which color of the cotton I preferred, so I just ended up buying two. I ended up buying a light sort of baby pink, and then I bought a, you can call this fuchsia pink or Cerise, Cerise, that shade of pink. I could not decide which I preferred more, so I put up a poll on my Instagram, and a lot of you voted this one. So I'm going to be using this one for the top. My only concern is baby pink is a color that's often used for like kids wear, female kids wear. So I'm worried the top might come out looking childish. but let's see. Maybe it's how I will now style it, I will now save it. But I'm going to be using this lighter pink. I also think it will work really well with my skin tone because it's like a soft blush pink, and I don't think I have any top this color. So now that I have the fabric decided, the round ring in the front, I wasn't sure where to get that from. My initial thought was go on Amazon, but when I was in the fabric shop, I saw that it had this buckle, so like enamel buckle, and the buckle had like this metal piece going through the middle, but I got George to help me break off the middle part of this buckle, so that left just this round ring. I'm going to use that. It's metal, it's not too heavy, so I'm hoping it would sit nicely on the front of the top. I would recommend using a wooden ring, something that is not too heavy, because if it's very heavy, it would pull down the top when you have it on the body. So I'm hoping this works as well. It's a really good size. I'll say this is about 2 inches, like diameter. This is about 2.5 inches, and it cost me 99 pence to get this from Fabricland. So the pattern is pretty straightforward. From how I saw it on the model's body, it's literally 6 petals distributed around like this, but I noticed the 2 petals that covered the boob were slightly wider. Now I have full bust, which means I have to make mine wide enough, so I'm going to be measuring from the top of my bust to the bottom, so I get a petal that at least, you know, covers a good chunk of my boob, and then I'll make the one that goes up and down a little bit smaller. So I'm going to be making 2 like petal shaped leaf patterns. One will be bigger for my boob and the other one will be smaller for the top and the bottom. The other thing I will need is the straps that would go from 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I need to cut 6 slim straps, which is what would tie up at the back to make the top complete. It's really simple, really straightforward, but yeah, we're going to see how I get on and if it turns out right and if I'm actually able to wear this, because it's such a tiny top. Like, it barely covers anything, but it's so cute. That's why I wanted to do it. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start on with the pattern now, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be starting off with making the wider pattern that sits around the bust, and for this I just folded a piece of paper in half like so, and then I'm going in here to mark the horizontal width of my bust, which at this point I worked with 9 inches. So once I have that marked in place, I'm going to go in and mark half of the vertical width of my bust, which at this point I'm working with 4 inches. So I went in first to draw the shape of the petal by hand, and went in next to refine it with a marker pen and my pattern master. Now the shape is pointed on one side and wider on the other side. The wider side is what we're going to gather and wrap around the inner ring. Now the distance between the top and the bottom on the wider side is 4 inches, and then I'm going in here to add a 1.5 inch seam allowance, so I have enough to wrap around my rim or the ring on the middle of the top. I'm just going in here to add my seam allowances, my notch points, before going in to cut out the pattern. Now later on we're going to be adding a dart to this bust petal, but for now I'm going to use this as a reference to create a smaller pattern piece. Next up, I went in to create a shorter petal pattern piece, which is shorter by 1 inch compared to the first one that we made. Everything else is the same in terms of the width, but it's just slightly shorter, and this is what we sit on the top and the bottom of the top. Now this is the bigger one that we made earlier on, and I'm just going to place that against my bust like so, and then just naturally fold in the dart that sits underneath the bust. This will help the piece to cup your bust and sit more naturally on your body. And once you have that dart in place, I'm just going in here to mark the point with a pencil, and then I'm going to take this out and draw in the actual dart lines. Now once I have the point in place, I'm just drawing in both sides of the dart, the top and the bottom. And because when you fold in this dart, one line is longer than the other, we have to make sure that we even out that on the pattern here before we cut this onto fabric. So once you see that this is folded, there is a gap there that we need to make up for. Now I'm going to take this pattern and tape some extra paper underneath, and we're going to fold the dart like we did earlier on, so we have enough paper in place, and then we essentially just need to draw in the line along that point that we had the gap earlier on. Now this is going to add a bit of extra material, so when you stitch, the darts end actually meet at the edge or at the seam. So once you have that drawn in, for the other side you essentially just draw it down to meet the other edge of the dart. So when you cut out your pattern paper, you have the dart shape looking like this. So when it's folded inwards towards the point, you have a nice smooth seam on the side. So now that we have this pattern done and the other one as well, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the pieces. For the petals that would sit along your bust, you need to cut 2 pairs, and for the other one that would be on the top and on the bottom, you need to cut 4 pairs, because we're going to essentially sew 2 pieces together, bag it out before you add your straps. So these are all of the pieces I cut. I have my 2 larger pairs like so. I also have 4 pairs of the smaller pieces, which is going to be on top and on the bottom of the top. And then the other thing I cut were 3 pairs of straps, which measure 30 by 1.5 inches. And this is how I'm going to actually wear the top. Without the straps, this top will not sit on my body, because you have to tie the straps on the back to allow the top to sit nicely on the front. Now starting off with the straps, I have pinned right sides together, and I'm going to be sewing my straps along the open edge, turn them inside out so I have them ready to be attached to the top. There are quite a few straps, so just take your time doing this, and I have a video where I shared a quick hack on how to turn slim straps inside out. So after getting my straps all done and ironed flat, I'm going in here to work on the darts that the boob petals have. I've pinned them in place, marked my point as well, and I'm going to be sewing my darts using a normal straight stitch, remembering to do a back stitch at the beginning and at the end to secure it in place. I did this for both pairs of the pieces, press them down, and I've put right sides together. But before stitching it in, I'm going to grab 2 straps and place it at the exact point where the petal edge is, or the pointed part of the petals is, because I would need to have a strap coming out of there to be able to tie up at the back. Now I did this for the left and for the right pairs before turning it inside out and setting it aside. Now for the other pairs of petals that go on top and on the bottom, I have pinned them in the same manner, putting a strap on the pointed edge like so, and essentially you just need to sew this all the way around, and when you get to the very point where the edge of your strap is, you just make sure you securely stitch it in place, because without those straps you won't be able to wear this top. So now we have all of the petals in place. You should have a total of 6 by now. I went ahead to turn it inside out, press them nice and flat, and I'm going to be joining all the petals together. So you can start from the top, you can start from the bottom, essentially just overlap them in such a way that you'll be able to top stitch them together. You need to top stitch them for about roughly 3 inches, sort of like from the bottom to the top. And once you have all of them pinned, it actually starts to look like an actual flower. So I'm going to take this to my machine, and I'm going to be sewing with a very slim edge stitch, joining subsequent petals to each other. I'm going to be sewing on the right side of the top, so I have control on how neat and how tidy the stitch actually comes out. So starting from the top on this particular one, you can mark it with a chalk, you can mark it with a pin, so you are sure of how much you have to stitch. And once you do that on one, you just work your way to the other until you are done with tacking down all of the petals. Next up, I went ahead to overlock the edge like so, and then did a loose stitch, which is going to help me gather in that inner circle. Now as you do your loose stitch, I say skip the part where you join the petals, because that stitch will be very tense and difficult to gather. So as you sew, just skip it, and then it will make your gathering process a lot easier to do. So this is what the petal piece and the top is looking like all gathered up, you can grab your rim and just like reference it over the hole to be sure that you've gathered it enough, else you can just keep going until you're happy with that. Next up, I'm going in here to wrap over the rim like so before I go ahead to join it in. So I've been able to wrap the rim inside like so. This is the wrong side because this is the side that has the stitching or the fold in this direction. And what I know I need to do is I need to hand tack this. This is way too thick. It's way too thick to go into my machine, so I'm going to hand tack it all the way around, and I just feel it to look a lot neater on the front. Now this is what the front would look like if there's no stitch coming through, which I just think is a lot prettier. The other thing I would say is the metal buckle rim that I use, I think it was on the wider side, even though it was like half an inch. I think if you would like to do this, try and find something that is a lot slimmer so you don't have to fold the fabric over as much as I have done. Luckily, because I cut the petals quite wide, it still fits over my bust well, so I'm okay. But if I had cut these even 1 inch smaller, the top would have just been too tiny, because this is what it's going to look like by the time I'm done. Like, this is the bust petals. Those are the bottom ones, and these are the top ones that will now go across my shoulder. So I'm just going to grab needle, thread, and headphones because this is going to take me a while, like a good while. With needle and thread, I'm just stitching the outer edge of this side, which I overlocked, to the inner layer of my top, ensuring that I don't have any stitch showing on the right side of the piece. And just take your time. It takes a bit of a while to get this done, but it would all be worth it. Okay, so I am done with the top. I have mixed feelings about this top. I would never lie. Like, I finished making it, I tried it on, and I was like, So I'll tell you what worked and what didn't. Now, what worked is the color against my skin is A+++. The blush pink against my chocolate skin looks actually very, very nice. I was worried it was going to look like a bit too girlish for me, but it works. I like that. I love the fact that the overall design of the top is quite unique. That I don't mind, but I have to say 2 things if you're going to recreate this top. Now, if you're someone who has smaller boobs, if you have a more sort of slender frame and you don't have a lot of girls on the front, you will love this top. Because what I can say straight off the bat is, if I jump some type of way, my boobs will fly out of this top and there will be indecent exposure. So it's going to be one of those tops I probably can only wear by the pool or at the beach. I don't think I can wear this top anywhere else. Like, where am I going? Like, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But yeah, this top, I'm just going to fold it somewhere, put it with my bikinis, put it with my sun hats. If I ever get to go on holiday, then I'll definitely pull this out, maybe pair it with like some denim shorts, a nice loose kimono, and this would be amazing on holiday by the beach or by the pool. But just so we're to go to Tesco, No, we're not doing that. We're not about to do that in 2021. Like, but the top is nice, Sha. Like, I won't even lie. It's actually pretty pretty. It's one of those tops that you used to snap and post on Insta, and everybody be like, where's your top from? Where's your top from? But on a more functional day-to-day wearing basis, I'll most likely not be wearing this a lot. But I enjoyed taking on the challenge. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to see something and I recreated it based on what I thought the construction was like, and it turned out pretty nice. If you have any tips on how we can, make this top work for girls with bigger boobs, please share in the comment section down below, because I would like to know as well. But if you guys enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you'll be recreating this, my dear, why not? Like, please tag me. I would love to see how you make it, how you rock it, how you style it on Instagram at Kimney Designs or anywhere else that you'll be recreating yours on. But with that being said, let me go and book my imaginary holiday to wear my new pink flower crop top. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.